Welcome to First Steps Ride Operation. Thanks for being part of the team and coming along for the ride. Guests like a thrill. Well, at least most of them do. And rides are one way we provide thrills while they're in the park. So your position as a ride operator is an important one. You're looking out for their care and safety while they're on the rides. It's up to you to monitor the equipment and the riders to make sure a thrill ride doesn't become thrilling for the wrong reasons. Our guests count on you to provide an exciting and safe experience each and every time they board a ride. Today, we're going to focus on 5 main areas of ride operation: knowing the ride, opening the ride, instructing riders, operating the ride, and closing the ride. For all the different rides you have in your amusement facility, your supervisor will provide specific policies and procedures for ride operation. But before we get to that, let's start with some general information that will help you and your facility be the best they can be. Did you know that amusement facilities are one of the safest places to have fun? It's true, more people are hurt playing soccer or working in their yard than in a visit to an amusement facility. That's because safety is priority number 1. It's not just a catchphrase. We live it and breathe it every day. A safe environment for our guests, safe use and maintenance of equipment, and a safe working environment for you, the employees. As a frontline employee, you play a key role in making your amusement facility safe for patrons and your fellow employees. Follow all safety rules, report unsafe conduct or conditions, make suggestions for safety improvements, and play your part in making your facility a safe and secure place. Keeping safety in mind at all times, when you're at your post and when you're not, helps our facility always meet the guest expectations and continue to be a safe and fun place to be. For you, this means be aware of all your park's specific rules and policies and help enforce them with guests and coworkers. Be on the lookout for and correct any safety hazards on walkways, rides, or any area of the facility. Know the correct procedures and how to respond in an emergency. Understand that your uniform communicates a message about safety and authority, much like a police officer or an airline pilot. You're someone they can approach if they need help. And be aware of the general safety and condition of your surroundings and the people around you. In this age of heightened security, we all need to have a greater awareness of our surroundings. If something doesn't seem right to you, notify your supervisor so they can take the appropriate action. The point is, be proactive. Take safety seriously for yourself, your coworkers, and our guests. Your supervisor will share other things you can do to keep your amusement facility safe. The beginning of the day is not the only time our amusement facility needs sprucing up. New guests arrive throughout the day, and it's important that the facility and our staff seem as clean and welcoming late in the day as they did to that first guest who walked through the gates. This means your uniform is neat, clean, and undamaged, and you're wearing an appropriate hairstyle and accessories. Pick up trash and litter when you see it. Don't wait till the end of the day or until someone else gets to it. Keep rides, games, and exhibits free of debris, spills, and grime that could inhibit or harm guests. And notify the appropriate staff of hazards like large spills or malfunctioning restroom facilities. Guests equate cleanliness with safety and quality, and if they don't have a safe, good quality experience, they won't stay, and they definitely won't come back. Our amusement facility's success depends on guests having a great time and referring even more guests. Just keep in mind how you would like to see the facility if it was the first time you were walking in, and help keep it that way. Guests are here for one reason and one reason only: to have fun. And a big part of that fun is the rides. You get the picture. To make sure every ride is a positive experience, you need to make sure you're familiar with all aspects of making the ride a safe and enjoyable trip, the first time and every time. Rides and procedures vary from park to park, so once you find out what ride or rides you'll be running, you'll be trained specifically for those pieces of equipment. Some things to take note of as you go through this training are optimal speed and capacity at which to operate the ride. Many rides have an automated cycle they run through, but you should be familiar with all modes of operation of the ride in case of an unexpected situation or emergency. Memorize all instructions for riders and enforce safety procedures for all guests. Read all appropriate training materials for your post and ask questions if anything is unclear. Make sure you are comfortable with all modes of operation of the ride before you're signed off to operate the ride solo. Knowing your ride inside and out is the best way to prevent injury and promote fun. Each ride has its own specific checklist of pre-opening tasks. Usually this begins with general housekeeping tasks and proceeds to written inspection and safety checklists that must be completed each day, or even each shift. Common or typical areas of preparation and inspection include the following. Make sure the ride is clean and inviting. Wipe down all seats, restraints, and handrails. Make sure the perimeter fence or gate is closed and secure. Clear walkways of any debris or obstructions. Check instruction signs to make sure they're in place and clearly readable and are not defaced. Check for sharp or pointed edges on surfaces and notify maintenance if repairs are needed. Make sure electrical cords are in good condition and are not worn or frayed. As you test run the ride, engage all modes of operation to make sure that all are functioning properly. And stay alert to any unusual noises that may indicate a maintenance issue or malfunction. Even the smallest malfunction must be investigated by qualified personnel and corrected before operation can continue. If you note a problem, contact the proper maintenance personnel to make the repair. All items on your checklist must be complete before you open your ride to guests. And don't forget to turn in or file inspection checklists according to your park's policies. Round and round, up and down, upside down, and sideways. Rides are full of thrills and chills, the good kind, when they are operated and enjoyed with safety in mind. Make sure you know all the safety measures and guidelines for your specific ride. Communicate them clearly and enforce them with every set of riders. Don't assume that people know all the precautions they should take. This is where your role with the guests is key. First of all, welcome each guest to the ride with a warm greeting and a smile. Verify that they qualify to ride the ride and meet all the ride restrictions, such as height, pregnancy, casts, or neck braces. Turning someone away is never fun. If you have to do it, use a calm, sympathetic, but firm tone. Help them understand that the restriction is in place for their safety. And above all, always be courteous.
You need to be just a little bit taller to ride on this ride. There's some great rides for you in the kids zone.
Oh, it's okay, he's with me.
I really can't make any exceptions. The design of the ride doesn't allow for anyone less than this height. You could try the Hurricane. It's a lot of fun, and I know that it's in his height range. Have a great day. Hi.
Before loading guests into seats, make sure they know if and how possessions need to be secured or possibly even left at the platform. Once guests are in their seats, make sure you and your coworkers personally check each restraint to make sure they're properly secured. Your safety instructions must be clear and understandable. If you're using a PA system, test it prior to opening the ride to make sure your voice can be heard clearly throughout the loading area. Let them know there is no exiting or entering once the ride is started. And everyone should remain in their places with restraints locked or fastened until the ride comes to a full stop at the end. One of your tasks will be to make sure that the ride is loaded properly for balance. In order to do this, it may be necessary to position smaller and larger riders in strategic areas to keep the ride in balance. This will help even out the ride and make it a more safe and enjoyable experience for everyone. It's important for guest safety that they keep hands, arms, and legs inside the ride at all times. No food or drink should be permitted on the rides.
And if someone seems unfit to ride due to intoxication or drug use, they should be asked to leave the loading area before the ride starts. Notify your supervisor or call security. Your park or even your particular ride may have guidelines in place for allowing or assisting a disabled person. Make sure you know what these standards are and be ready to act on them.
Accommodating these special guests can be challenging, but also extremely rewarding. Make sure you know how to do your part to make their day as enjoyable and safe as possible. So, your ride's loaded, everyone's in place, and all instructions have been given. Let the good times begin. Okay, the passengers are loaded and every restraint has been checked. You're ready to go, right? Probably, but as a precaution, you need to make one more visual inspection before you put the ride in motion to make sure that no one has moved or is having a problem.
Also, check around the ride area to make sure other guests and park employees are clear. This is particularly important with small children. No matter how tame or harmless the ride may seem, if a small child falls or becomes entangled, it could become serious. Also, young ones are more easily startled and may change their mind about riding right before or right after you start the ride. Expect the unexpected and be ready to stop the ride should the situation warrant. If you're working on a larger ride and it's not possible for you to view the whole ride from your operating position, you and your coworkers should have appropriate hand signals worked out to let you know that it's safe to put the ride in motion. In some cases, your ride may be equipped with lights, video, or other signal devices.
Once you begin the ride sequence, you should watch the ride throughout its operating cycle. Being attentive and alert can help you prevent problems before they occur. Don't be distracted by other guests, friends, or coworkers when you're operating the ride. Your ability to react quickly in any situation is critical to keeping your ride and your park safe. And always be alert to unusual noises as the ride operates and notify maintenance if you have any questions or concerns.
Should an emergency arise, stop and evacuate the ride according to your park procedure. You must know all emergency procedures for your ride, as well as for first aid, fires, power failures, and natural disasters, and be able to implement them quickly and calmly.
Know the location of telephones near your work area and memorize important phone numbers. You should also be familiar with the location and operation of any fire prevention or extinguishing equipment in your area. Remember, diligent inspection and attention to detail leave little room for the unexpected. Preparation and knowledge are the keys to keeping everyone safe.
Once the operating cycle has completed and the ride has come to a stop, be sure and thank the guest for riding and assist them in exiting the ride and the platform correctly and safely. Then, wish them a pleasant stay at your park.
You've had a great day of ride operation, and now the park is closing. It's also time to close the ride for the day. The first step is for you or another attendant to close off the queue line so guests understand the ride is closing. Allow those already in the queue to board and ride. Once the final operating sequence has completed and all guests have exited the ride area, you can power down the ride according to your park procedure. Complete your closing checklist, whether it be housekeeping activities, such as cleaning up under and around the ride, or additional inspections of equipment and grounds. Fill out all necessary paperwork, including final checklists, incident reports, or maintenance requests, and make sure they get to your supervisor or to the appropriate department. Remember, the more thorough you can be at the end of the day, the better the beginning of the day will be tomorrow. Being Being a part of a team is a big responsibility, but it's also a great benefit. Team members help and support one another in a lot of ways, and this makes everyone's job easier and a little more fun. To be an effective team member, you first have to respect the others on your team. Respect means treating others the way you would want to be treated. Showing up on time and ready for work so you don't keep others waiting or cause delays. Lending a helping hand when someone is overwhelmed or more busy than you are. And working out problems or issues face to face with each other, rather than ignoring them or going behind their back. Teamwork is fun work. It's as simple as that. Make sure that your team knows how much you appreciate them and what they do, and they'll do the same for you. Our guests are the reason we're here. That's the bottom line. I know there'll be days when you feel like your job would be easier without the guests, but the truth is, they are your job. Nearly everyone in our amusement facility is guaranteed to have interaction with the guests every day. Here are a few things to keep in mind as you do your best to make guests feel welcome and excited about being here. Greet guests warmly and welcome them to the facility. Know the layout and the location of restrooms and other guest services. Approach guests who look lost or confused and see if you can assist them. As often as possible, take people to where they're going rather than just pointing them in the right direction. Make eye contact, smile, and be genuinely happy to help. Be aware of safety procedures in place for guests and staff, and be prepared to carry them out in an emergency. Be firm but courteous when enforcing rules or policies. Know as much as you can about the park so you can be efficient and knowledgeable when asked questions. And finally, thank the guests for visiting our facility and provide a friendly farewell. What it comes down to is treating guests the way you would want to be treated. And what could be more simple than that? Wasn't that a great ride? Your guests will feel the same way when you use your expertise to provide an exciting and safe ride experience for them. Your supervisor will share more information about your facility's specific rides and operations procedures and other park information. Now that we've demonstrated some of the basics of rides operations, make sure you practice them each and every time you're on the job. Guests depend on you to make their visit an exciting one for all the right reasons. Work safe, have fun, and create a memorable park experience for your guests. Welcome to First Steps Ride Operation. Thanks for being part of the team and coming along for the ride. Guests like a thrill. Well, at least most of them do. And rides are one way we provide thrills while they're in the park. So your position as a ride operator is an important one. You're looking out for their care and safety while they're on the rides. It's up to you to monitor the equipment and the riders to make sure a thrill ride doesn't become thrilling for the wrong reasons. Our guests count on you to provide an exciting and safe experience each and every time they board a ride. Today, we're going to focus on 5 main areas of ride operation: knowing the ride, opening the ride, instructing riders, operating the ride, and closing the ride. For all the different rides you have in your amusement facility, your supervisor will provide specific policies and procedures for ride operation. But before we get to that, let's start with some general information that will help you and your facility be the best they can be.